Darko. I have some questions about management, but before we dive in, I'd like to ask you for your description of who in a company counts as a manager.
Well, everybody who manages others, who leads others, who delegates work, is basically a manager in a company.
What makes the role of a manager different to everybody else's role?
Well, as a manager, you dedicate a certain amount of your time to basically managing people. And it's not only delegating tasks, but it's also making sure that people have all the resources they need in order to do their job and that the whole environment supports them in that. And the higher you are on the hierarchical ladder, the more of your time is basically connected with this part.
Doesn't that just mean that management staff are overhead and the fewer the better?
Ideally, one would think like that, but on the other side, we people basically congregate in companies. Why? Because together we achieve more than every individual for him or herself. And the managers are basically the glue that ties us together and that help us that we all row and push and do things in the same direction, because that's the only way how you can progress. So you've got certain modern management approaches, such as agile methodologies, which are broadly used in software development and so forth, which try to minimize the need for managers. But from my experience, you still need managers in companies, and you need to have proper governance structure in order to really ensure that the company progresses in the right direction together.
And what do managers need to do to be really good at managing?
Well, for me, it boils down to basically 10 different topics. One is that basically managers, especially on the top, so basically CEO and the like, they really need to know their customers. They need to know the products and services that they offer. They also need to know the company and its processes. So not just the outputs like products and services, but also how that is being done. So the whole company and its processes. They need to basically draft and prepare and implement and review and know in detail their business plans. So they need to have a direction into which they want to steer the company and their colleagues. And in connection with that, they do need to monitor and control. And not because of the control over the employees, but in order to establish whether or not they and the company are going in the right direction. And that's obviously also connected with decision and acting based on where the company is. And so that's one part. And the other part is connected also with properly informing their colleagues, because that also means that there's less need for controlling, because it's more likely that people will work in and push in the same direction. Then we come to just managing people and their expectations, to managing relationship with companies' owners, which is also important, and last but not least, that they always concentrate on keeping the focus. And that's connected with the business plan, and that's connected with how they act, manage, and lead their colleagues, and ensuring that they are consistently going and pushing in one direction, because that increases the odds of success and it increases the odds that the company will grow and generate profit.
Well, that's a hugely valuable insight. Thank you. A last question. Do you have any tips for managers on some of the most easily avoided mistakes?
Yeah, from my perspective, the most obvious one is connected with one point I mentioned earlier, informing. So I do believe in being transparent towards your colleagues. I do believe that people need to be informed, because if they are properly informed, they can react in also unforeseen or unpredictable situation with the right mindset. And I think that that's a really low-hanging fruit that all companies and all managers and CEOs should really observe and take to their heart.
Darko, thank you very much.
Thanks, Anton. Interested to learn more? Visit www.dg180.ch and get in touch.